Hello, and welcome to our look at key trends shaping the gaming ecosystem. My name is Matt Piscatella. I'm the US video game industry analyst, and I'm very happy to share with you these three things we think are becoming a bigger factor in the US video game market in 2021. First, we have the rise of the Omni player. Our second key trend is regarding subscription services booming. And we'll wrap it up with a look at the race to the metaverse. First, though, let's look at the rise of the Omni player. Now, throughout the course of the pandemic, the video game industry has seen increases in the number of people playing, the number of hours they've played, and of course, the amount of spending they've done in the video game category. However, in 2021, we've seen a slight reduction in this number of people playing. A year ago, we saw about 79% of Americans aged 2 and above played video game content. That's gone down to about 76% in 2021. However, we've also seen an increase in the number of hours played in 2021, as well as the average spending per player. And what we're seeing that's particularly interesting is the number of players that are playing across more device types. So what you're looking here on the right is from our Player Pulse survey data. And going down the rows on the left-hand side of the chart, players on mobile, players on PC, and players on console. Reading across to the right, you can see the percentage of those players that also play on these other device types. So regardless if someone has played on mobile devices, they played games on PC, or they might be enjoying their favorite games on console, over half of those players are also playing on at least one other device type. So whereas in the past, we've talked about mobile players versus PC players versus console players, what we're seeing in 2021 are players playing across devices based on where they are, what they're doing, who they want to play with, and of course, what they want to play. Our second big trend is around subscription services, which have been booming in the video game marketplace. Now, of course, these services are such like Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, PlayStation Plus, and services that have been around for a decade or more, like World of Warcraft. We're seeing these subscription offerings allowing players to experience a wider variety of content at a very low cost. And what we're seeing in the spending is a rapid increase, approaching exponential in the amount of spending US video game players have experienced in subscription services. In the 12-month period ending July 2021, approximately $4.1 billion have been generated by subscription services. That's growth of over 20% versus a year ago, and significantly ahead of the $2.9 billion generated in the 12 months ending July 2019. And we're starting to see some very rapid growth in subscriber counts. And whether we're looking at Nintendo Switch Online, which in just a few months in 2020 went from 15 million to 26 million subscribers, or Xbox Game Pass, which jumped from 15 million subscribers in September of 2020 to over 18 million in January of 2021, or even PlayStation Now, that saw a significant lift in subscriber count from 2.2 million in April of 2020 to 3.2 million in May of 2021. We're seeing a number of subscription services experiencing this rapid subscriber count growth this year. And finally, you may not have heard the term yet, Metaverse, and the race to it. It's going to become one of the words you hear most frequently about the video game space. And what we're seeing in terms of what the Metaverse is, well, first we need to define it. And right now, the best definition is that it's the attempt to basically converge one's physical, augmented, and virtual realities in a shared online space. Now, that might be a little bit hard to grasp, something like hearing about the internet for the first time in the late 80s. And what we're finding is a number of companies investing in the metaverse space, but the details about what that might actually look like are a little bit tougher to parse. We're seeing headlines across the space, such as what is the metaverse and why is it worth so much money, as millions are being invested in these initiatives. We're seeing outlets like the New York Times asking, are we in the metaverse yet? Talking about games like Fortnite and Animal Crossing New Horizons that have brought elements of the metaverse, allowing people to connect to things well outside the game itself, such as concerts and social events. But how do they make that bigger? Well, the biggest people in tech are focused on this quite squarely. Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook talked about how Facebook is not going to be a social network company, but rather a metaverse company, attempting again to bring the physical, augmented, and virtual realities into a shared online space for folks. And people like Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic, talking about how the metaverse is going to happen. I think the whole industry is going through this process of discovering what that new medium is going to be. We are in very early days about the metaverse and what this might mean for the video game industry, but it is coming, and significant efforts are being put towards making these online worlds bigger and going well beyond games. So that's our quick look at the 3 key trends influencing the video game space right now. Thank you for joining.